Hey guys, forgive the lighting issue and this is kind of weird setup. I'm like using a Xbox microphone in order to, kind of sound better. But what I really wanted to talk about was kind of what's been happening recently. With if you haven't been on Twitter, which to be honest, if you haven't been, good on you. No, no, if you use Twitter, it's all good. I mean, I use it, but with the whole FNF Twitter stuff, there's a whole bunch of there's some issues coming up with people leaving, with a lot of negativity and a lot of just overall this vibe of people feeling disheartened and feeling like like that it doesn't feel the same, that something happened or something or a bunch of things have been happening. And to be frank, there's a couple of sides to this. There's some people who are kind of blaming everything, saying that the whole FNF fans, like, they're all like this, that they're all spreading this sort of hate, this sort of just toxicity that really permutates throughout the social media platform, and that they're all bad. And there's another side that kind of tries to pretend that everything's okay, or that people are being way too dramatic, or being some sort of way, or it's just overall a lot of arguing. And I wanted to come across this kind of short video essentially saying that both sides, they have their their points. And if you are someone who left the community, and if you're someone who like genuinely felt disheartened and felt like you want to move on to other things, that's okay. Like, that's completely fine. Like, I get it. I get if it's like a lot. But for those who want to stick around, for those who want to just try to overall make something better, to make this community better, then we kind of have to talk. We kind of have to, address some of these issues, and, kind of come across what sort of solution there can be. And I know you might be asking, like, what's the point? Because like, like this is just a rhythm game thing. Like, this is whatever. Like, what, you're taking it way too seriously. But the thing is that if you feel like a connection to a place, and if you feel like like you care about people in it, and because of like mutually shared interests, then it's not really bad to care about that sort of thing. It's not really bad to want something more, to get overall something more, to get something that you can feel better on, essentially. And I do want to preface that, like, I don't have a script for this. Like, I'm kind of new to this content. I mean, look at this. Um, but what I wanted to really say was that, and in all seriousness, I get it. Like, trust me, I get wanting to, you know, condemn these people who do these sort of toxic things. Like, I'm pretty sure if you were around in Twitter for a little while and were in the FNF Twitter circle, you kind of know a bit of what I'm talking about the ethos thing, about like people leaving, and just over like some people being exposed for stuff. And I get that that sort of thing can be disheartening. And I know that that sort of stuff needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed because, yes, there is an underlying issue of there are quite a few people who are. I'm adding this in post to say that, other than people's projects and stuff, if you're actually like targeting other people, or if you're, you know, making mods over people's defects, or overall just doing weird ass shit, don't do that. Like, that's actually disgusting. That needs to be called out, and I get that. Like, don't do that. Like, it's a bit bigger than just projects. Like, don't do, like, seriously, don't do that. Or essentially, they think that it's cool to bring down other people's projects, and then if you, like, say anything, they're like, oh, I'm just sharing my opinion, man. Like, you're fucking you're being, like, way too sensitive, or you're taking this way too seriously. Like, it's just like what I'm thinking. Like, not gonna lie, I'm just saying what I'm saying. But that sort of viewpoint is just so toxic. Like, you can say whatever you want, you can have whatever opinion you want, but that doesn't mean that your actions don't affect other people. Your actions have consequences to other people, and it can give this perception of a negative space that when people view from the outside, they kind of view it as like, like, oh man, like this community's kind of like that. Um, but, and I know a few of you are saying, like, okay, like, what's your point? And my point that I'm trying to make is that as a community, we can make a difference. Like, we really can. And you might be asking, like, there's thousands of people. Like, there's quite a lot of people. How are you, or how am I? How are you? How can we make a difference? And we make a difference by simply being better, by helping others and helping uplift others, even one at a time, even just one at a time. Because I've seen this community do amazing things, make these giant fundraisers to help support others. I've seen people get jobs for this, like, and to expand their creative interest even beyond the scope of FNF, even beyond the scope of what they could have ever thought of. And so, for that sort of thing, that's nothing to just take lightly. That's something that really has an impact. But we have to try one at a time, because change comes from the individual. And I know, I know what you're going to say. How can I make a difference? Like, how can I, you know, change everything? And why should I? Because making a difference and spreading hope and helping uplift even just one person, it does so much more than what you could think. I mean, just think about it. How many times have you felt ecstatic? You felt great seeing a super positive comment about your thing, or you see your thing get some support from other people, and it makes you feel uplifted. It makes you feel like you're heard. It makes you feel like you're being heard. It makes you feel like that you matter. And that's how, we're going to combat this sort of negativity, by making other people matter. And the negativity, the whole toxic side of it, is to belittle others and to make them feel like they don't matter or that their works don't matter. And I'm not going to lie. Obviously, there's quite a few people who are like that, and cliques and these sort of groups that feel like it's cool to be like, oh, be mean, like, ironic mean, like, oh, your thing is kind of like, it's kind of dog water, but I'm not saying it to be mean or anything. It's just, you're just your skills are pretty bad. That sort of thing doesn't bring any worth. Don't you like? And if you are someone who finds that kind of thing funny, or finds that kind of thing, like, to random people. Obviously, if you're saying this between friends, then that's different. You could say whatever you want to friends. And, if it's a joke, then that's kind of how it is, this friend stuff. But when you're saying this to random people who you have no idea how much work, how much effort, how much of a struggle that they've spent on a project that they enjoy, what does that accomplish? You're pushing people away. And for what? You don't gain anything. You don't feel any, like, do you feel a sense of entitlement, or do you feel like you deserve better? Who said that you do? We're making free content. We're making stuff for free. We're working hard for free. And even in the base game, like, that sort of stuff, like, yeah, they got fundraiser for that, but they're still working hard on it, and they're expanding it so much more than what we could possibly have expected. And they're working hard, and people are working hard to share their vision. They don't deserve someone to put them down, they deserve someone to lift them up. And it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how small you are, it doesn't matter these numbers, because what matters is the heart. What matters is what you can do, because you can make a difference by helping someone else and by enjoying what you enjoy. If you want to move on to other stuff, if you want to, just not be associated with FNF or just anything in general, I get it. Trust me, I get it. And it can be disheartening to see people leave, but I get it. But I'm kind of seeing that there's a lot of posts saying like, "Oh, I'm moving on to something better. I'm moving on to something like more, just better in general. Like I'm moving on to something that will make my life better. That I'm not gonna feel any negativity from. That is, it's gonna uplift my creative career a lot better than FNF. Like ugh, it's a rhythm game. Ugh. But why are you saying it like that? Because, and I hate to break it to you, every community is like that. If you feel negativity, if you feel this sort of like downward spiral, if you feel like you were hurt, you weren't hurt by people of like because they like that sort of thing. You were hurt by people. And I don't want to discredit anyone who felt hurt or were abused or dealt with anything within this fear, because I am truly sorry if you have been. I'm truly, truly sorry that someone in this community, or maybe even multiple, have harmed you personally and made you feel worse or made you feel not wanted. That's not at all what a community should do. It's just that unfortunately we're human. We're human, and there are so many people out there who, quite frankly, just don't care. Who don't care about you, who don't care about, or perhaps they just want to hurt. And there's always going to be people like that. And if you're moving on, just don't expect that you're never going to experience negativity again because, like, oh, you're out of this fear. Because that's kind of what the human condition is. And that doesn't mean that it devalues what a community is, because a community is a tight knit group of people that share their love, they share their vision, their artistic expression, they share all of that because they enjoy something. There is always going to be bad people out there. It doesn't matter what fandom you're in, or like if you're in a better fandom, because quite frankly, you know what that is? That's tribalism. I hate to say it, you're kind of following exactly human nature, because human nature says my community is better and their community is bad. And if my community is bad, then I need to join something else because they're perfect. And that means that my community is bad. And there's no good. There's no point in, there's no value in it. But the sad thing is, is that that sort of value you have to cultivate yourself. You have to find these people who care about your stuff yourself. You have to put in the work for it. You have to try regardless. And I know a few of you, are young and, have, I'm an old man talking back in my day, But in all seriousness, like back when I was younger and around middle school, I got into Undertale, the whole Undertale community. It's a beautiful game made by a passionate indie developer, Toby. I love him. And it was made with so much beauty. And so you would expect that the community, like for a game that promotes hope, determination, overcoming odds, and trying to find a better path, that the community would, be better. But it wasn't. I was hurt personally by a few people in the Undertale community, and I was abused in a way. I was hurt. And if you were in the fandom at that time, you can say like there was a period where there was so much negativity, so much toxicity, so much of it. There was so much things that were allowed, so much things that weren't allowed, and so many bad people. And it made me think a little bit like, is everyone like this? Is the Undertale community just like this? No. Because unfortunately, sometimes we're going to run into bad people, no matter where we go. Another post thing here, but the Undertale community has gotten like so much better ever ever since that time, and this is kind of reinforcing the point that every single fandom has these ups and downs. And I mean, come on, like remember that time when we literally had years between an update before weekend one? I remember when like days FNF was a thing, and remember when so much stuff was happening. Like we were in so much worse. So what I'm trying to say is that there's these bad periods, there's these good periods, but every single fandom has them. The Undertale one had it, this one has it, and every other one. The Sonic fandom also. I hate to say it, all you people who love Sonic, there was a period where all the Sonic games were really bad, and and the community was also bad. But then it got peak again, because every single fandom has that, and you could see that with every single fandom. Because if there's a group of people, there's always going to be someone who wants the worst. The Sonic fandom, anime, Mario. I was gonna say Nintendo, but I don't know. Any other insert fandom right here. FNAF fandom. Cookie clicker. So I know you might be asking, so should I just not join any fandom? Then that's not a right way to think either, because quite frankly, if you enjoy something, if you share an interest with someone else, then you are a part of a fandom, because you're sharing your interest with someone else and you're sharing personal projects, then you are by definition a part of the fandom. Maybe you don't interact with the larger community at large, but you are still part. And as much as there is negativity, if you want to interact and if you want to, overall enjoy the fandom for what it is, then you need to make a difference. Because I get how bad it can be. I know. And I know sometimes our first instinct is to react. And especially with how content is, and especially with how life has been lately. Life has been kind of throwing us reactionary stuff. You have to be mad at this. You have to be mad at that. You have to care about this. Yeah, you need to care. But it's too much. It's too much. There is an endless wave of negativity and hate. There's always going to be, because, quite frankly, and unfortunately, that's kind of what we've promoted. Well, not us, but higher ups promoted. But wouldn't you rather be a voice, a light within that darkness, rather than to join that endless choir? Because there is always going to be another person who hates, but there is never enough people who can make a difference. Because you can, even in the smallest of ways. Even if you give just a nice comment to someone, even if you help retweet and tell people about their posts, if you help uplift people who never felt that upliftment before, then it makes a difference. And you are doing your part in a community that you enjoy. So, to recap, if you choose to leave the fandom, that's okay. Like, I understand losing interest, and I understand if you felt hurt and if you just want to move away from something that kind of tainted your point of view or your interest in something. And that's okay. You are valid, and this is not to condemn you or to make you feel bad for your decision. But for those who choose to stay, and for those who want to leave, don't say it like if you're moving on to something better, or if you're finally leaving a toxic place, because quite frankly, you're lying to yourself. Because there's always going to be people like that no matter where you go. But you can make a difference by being a positive light, by being a shining beacon against any hate, against any bad vibes. You can be a beacon, and you can help others, even in the smallest of ways. Check on a friend. Send a nice message to someone who you like their stuff. Help support someone who maybe has never felt supported at all. And when you do these things in a large group, and when we put a highlight onto that, and when we show, hey, like, and this isn't virtue signaling, but it is showing the best parts, and not just, not just showing all of the bad sides, because quite frankly, we've had enough of that. We've had more than enough. And by showing that, and when there is a large amount of people who can do good, then it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And quite frankly, just stay hopeful. And I know that probably is a good final word to say, but and you can click off the video. This is if you're, we're here for mainly the positivity stuff. I'm just gonna talk a little bit more personally. You can click off right now. Just click that little X button right now if you don't want to hear. But I've been in this fandom since the beginning. Actually, I remember when week 4 came out, and I was so enthralled, and I was so fascinated, the fact that a little story could be told through the power of music. And when I saw that mod of Garcello come out, it truly touched me, to where it made me want to show my passions as well, where it made me want to show my voice, to where it wanted to scream out, to show my creative vision, and I've always wanted that. I've always wanted that. And if you don't know me, you can know me as Q, but I'm also known as Aku. And maybe if we're close enough, then I could tell you my real name, or if you don't already know it. But I can't say that I'm gonna be here forever, because, quite frankly, nothing lasts forever. Nothing does. Unfortunately, interests die, and we grow old, and our interests change, and that's okay. But I am not going to say that my time here was bad, or that I got nothing from any of this. Because I have met some of the greatest friends I've known, and people I would even consider second siblings to me, who I deeply care for, who I love, and I cherish with the deepest of my heart. I have a team that cares about what I'm making. I have even if it's tiny, a small platform that I can say stuff and people can actually listen. I've never had that before Friday Night Funkin'. And so, even when I release my projects, and even when maybe I eventually will leave, or not even officially leave, I'm not gonna be like make a 5,000 word post like I'm leaving to better things. But I may lose interest, and I may want to make my own stuff. Maybe an indie game, maybe an indie show. I don't know. But no matter what, I'm never going to forget this game. And I'm never going to forget this community. All the good, unfortunately, all the bad. But I'm going to remember most of the people in it who chose to do better and who still enjoy something, enjoy a project that they personally love. Don't let anyone bring you down. Don't let anyone push you away. Don't let anyone dictate what you can enjoy. Because life is short. And quite frankly, enjoy what you want. Enjoy whatever you want. As long as it's not illegal or, bad or, like illegal stuff. But just enjoy what you want to enjoy. Doesn't matter if it's cringe. Doesn't matter if people not don't like it or if it's not the popular thing, because it just matters that you like it. And if you like it, then that already gives it all the value it needs. Stay hopeful, guys.